Thank you, WCC, the institution I always revere. Many thanks to Dr. Margaret Mary for that very generous introduction. I'm very happy to be in my college today with all of you, with my young friends. I wholeheartedly thank the opportunity that has made it possible for me to be with you all at your homes as I remain seated in my office. So kudos to the technology that has made it possible. So I'll start sharing my slides and take you through building of your dream process. So you must all be aware about the lucrative jobs that everybody is aspiring to get into. But how can you become a job creator from a job seeker is all about this presentation today. So if you look at self-employment, there are three different types: the large industry, the MSMEs, and the startups. The large industry are primarily the big manufacturing units that we see around them, mostly owned by the business class, the family business, etc. The micro, small, medium enterprises is the backbone of the Indian economy. It's the largest chunk. And in that micro, small, medium enterprises, the micro enterprises, the flower seller you see around you, the fruit seller, the street vendor, they all form the 90% of the industry, or the self-employment opportunities. We can't call them as an industry in itself. So the SME space is less than 10%. And the small, medium enterprise is actually the innovative enterprises which are going to produce products, processes for our country, for the globally. So the startups, which is a new generation enterprises, which we want our youth to build, will actually feed into the SMEs, the small, medium enterprises of the country. So when we think of famous business leaders, these are some of the people who come to your mind. They have made it big. They made it popular. What's inspiring about them? Yes, they were game changers. They made many impossible things, which many of you could not even imagine. They brought into light their huge success. And most importantly, many of them have faced with a lot of failures. But failure did not deter them. That being the case, why not we aspire to do something on our own? So these are the main bottlenecks for you to think of your job, a self-employment for yourself, the huge capital investments. If you have heard about business, it's mostly people investing a lot of money and this money is not available with them. They take a loan to do it. And when you're investing the money, then there is a profit or the loss. So profits can take you up and up in the life and the loss very badly down. So finally, we all struggle to have a peaceful, happy life, which we feel will not happen if we start to do something on our own. And this is the main bottleneck for any aspiring entrepreneur, but it's no longer true. That's what I'm going to tell you. Man has been an innovator right from the day he has come into the earth. So that's what I have put. It is not just a business. It is not just about wealth and money that we think. It is entrepreneurship is more about value, a transformation through an enterprise creation. The ecosystem, if you see today globally and in India, all the governments are pushing towards entrepreneurship development. A couple of slides back, I told you that there is loans, and because of that, people don't want to enter into entrepreneurship because they have to repay it. And if they incur loss, they won't be able to do it. But now there is a lot of grants. There is a lot of fellowships which are available throughout the world to encourage entrepreneurships. And there are places like incubators, technology parks, accelerators. You don't have to hire a room. You don't have to pay huge rent. You don't have to set up the facilities. All these are ready-made available for you. You just have to find out where are these incubators, these parks, and how you can fit in there, how you can make use of these facilities created by the government and also the corporates. So all this will help you transform your ideas into ventures. And of course, India has a huge market. We are 1.4 billion. So you have a lot of chance to win the game. Just to give you a glimpse of startup scenario in India today, to assure you that there is a lot of people working on startups, and there are a lot of students as such coming out of the colleges. So if you look at the numbers of startups in India today, it is 85,000 plus. So I'm not considering the large industries or the MSMEs here. It is just the startups, which is this number. And I told you about the places which actually nurture the startups. So these are 500 plus spread throughout the country. There are more than 2,000 plus angel investors. These are early stage investors. They'll give you money to explore a very, very basic idea into a basic business model. Not a great one, but even your early ideas you can explore. And 47 government departments are working on startup. And that does not mean that you don't have the abilities or the skills. You just have to look for opportunities to bring out the best in you. And what is that opportunity? You need to dream. So if you do that, you are going to have a satisfying career. You can make a difference to the world by building your product and process and service, and eventually an enterprise. And more importantly, why should you embrace entrepreneurship today? Because today there is a lot of support available globally, and this is an era of entrepreneur. I don't think anybody is going to now say I'm a great doctor or an engineer. Everybody will proudly will say in the generations to come that I'm a great entrepreneur. I've done everything. I'm a self-made man and woman. So this is going to be the mantra. So you have, this is the right time for you to make use of this opportunity. So when you aspire for any career, there is a set of qualification as what you should be reading and writing and all that, right? So for an entrepreneur, it is more of attitude and attributes than really the qualification. So these are some of the attitudes that has to be there in an entrepreneur: knowledge, motivation, confidence, hard work, persistence, self-discipline, passion, integrity. Because you have to see something which nobody sees, and you have to keep to your goals where people are going to discourage you. So you need to have a very, very positive mindset. And in case you think you don't have any of these, you can cultivate it. It's not an issue. And who can become an entrepreneur? If you want to look at the qualification, basically any graduate, a postgraduate. I told you the micro enterprises, so what they have in them, nothing. They want to make a livelihood, they are doing. But you're having education, so you're going to make a change, you're going to bring a change. So you're at a much higher level, and you're going to use your education to make that change. So any qualification, but you have to join in a team where you can complement each other. Though we all like to have friends from the same room, same college, you should always complement. If you become a team builder and entrepreneur, you have to, suppose you're an engineer, you have to go and share with the botanist so that you bring in complementary ideas across the table. Okay, how to start? So now you're all inspired, started dreaming, okay, let me think of doing something. So what should you do? So any basic entrepreneurship has three main things, three main ingredients. You have to identify a need. So first you need to know what you're going to change or what for you're going to work. Then you have to work for that, invent a solution for the change, then finally implement it. You have to sell it finally. You have to have a market. You have to sell it for an affordable population or for a high-end elite population, but you need to have a market for your product. Just to give a very simple example, we all eat ice creams. It was served in a glass bowl. Then somebody thought, why don't we have to every time clean the glass bowls and reuse it? We should make the bowl in which the ice cream is also there as edible product. So they made the cone ice. It was made into a very affordable option, and they knew where to keep it. Okay, not in near a house, not near a school, but more near a beach or a cinema theater. So this is how, it's a very simple example, but this is how somebody identifies a need, invent a solution, and implement the solution. So these are so you should first look curious to find what you're going to change. Again, where should you begin? You have to work hard to improve your skills. So if you are a mechanical engineering, for example, so you should know everything, basic requirement. I'm not talking about the marks that you're taking in your semesters. that can vary here and there, but the subject knowledge should be strong with you. You should network with your friends. You should ask questions. You should be curious to know where is the incubator, where are the investments. And when I say network, as I mentioned earlier, it should complement your efforts. I would like to give you one illustrative example for this. You are a mechanical graduate and you want to build a solution for an agriculture farm. So you're going and seeing a farmer. He's not able to test the soil salinity or the water salinity in the region. So you want to build something to help him do that so that accordingly he can make his crops ready. So you partner with a botanist or a chemist and find out how you can do the chemistry part of it, and then you bring in your mechanical engineering skills into it. And finally, you want to make it automated or whatever, then you go to an IT person. So you have to network in a way that you complement the strengths of each other in terms of knowledge and also your attitudes and attributes. So this is for you to give a glimpse of the places that are available in the state of Tamil Nadu, because I was told to give a talk on the innovation and innovation opportunities in the state. So these are some of the places which are actually doing quite well. So the Entrepreneurship Development and Innovation Institute, in which I had also served as joint director a couple of years, is a state government institution. You can reach out to them, ask them what student schemes are there. There are a lot of hackathons they conduct, a lot of ESL support they provide, so you can just reach out to them. And if you want to really start, really start, you have to go to the IIT. So there is a lot of government of India initiatives also in each and every place. So the funds are provided as grant in aid and there is mentoring support. So these are some of the government departments whose website you should go and see and check wherein you can fit and what schemes would be useful to you. I'm not bombarding you with schemes because first I want you to start dreaming in that direction. So I'm just giving you the ideas. So once you're ready with your first step, then you can go into all this. So Department of Biotechnology, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, Department of Science and Technology, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, MAITI, MHRD, DPIIT. So these are the major Government of India organizations which are promoting startups. So I would also like to give you some of the glimpses of the incubation centers set up by the Entrepreneurship Development and Innovation Institute in the state, universities and colleges across the state of Tamil Nadu. Because this will give you an idea that these facilities are not only existing in major cities like Chennai and Coimbatore, but also in small towns. So just to give you an idea, there are 10 of them. I'm giving you a major one. So the Veterinary Incubation Foundation, which has been set up in Kanuvas, Chennai. So this is for animal healthcare. Again, animal healthcare means doesn't mean only a veterinarian can do, anybody can do, but accordingly you need to partner with like-minded people. The Forestry Incubator, a very successful incubation center at Metupalayam. So using forest products, industry species of wood, and a lot of things that we can do from the natural resource available in the state. Horticulture Incubator at Perikulam. And a micro cluster based agro enterprises at Kilikulam. So all these are also coupled to livelihood activities. So we set up so that people who are educated, people who are uneducated can come together and do a lot of things for developing product and process which can be used in-house for the country. So I gave you a business leader slide earlier. So they had built huge businesses and they are very successful, but they're all trying to create, value. And for creating that value, you would have noticed they all now started philanthropies. They become philanthropists, they started funding. They're doing a lot of activities across the world, especially in India. They all come and fund various initiatives. But for your dream, I would like you to think about even more inspiring people from our own country, from our own state, who have made it years back, even before many of you were born. Most of you, none of, maybe all of you are born. So they were enterprising. They are not entrepreneurs. They were enterprising. They have created value and impact, which we cannot even imagine. So one such as Rukmini Devi Arundale, she was a theosophist and a dancer. And today the Kalakshetra Foundation, everyone from Chennai will know, it's an institute of national importance for training in classical arts, not only Bharatanatyam, but all the classical dance, music, kalamkari, art, everything. So she just started it from the scratch. And before that, there was no formal training or an institutional mechanism available to learn dance. So she made it great. She brought in a lot of funding. She attracted a lot of funding, which we usually use words in business. Though she is not an entrepreneur, I would like to leave you with her as a motivational factor. I would also like to think about Idas Kadar, a great missionary. She was a missionary from the American missionary in India. She made a resolve not to become a doctor or a medical missionary. She was a third generation medical missionary. But eventually she saw women dying in Vellore because they were not taking treatment from male physicians. So she became a female physician. She got educated in US and she came back to India, set up the Christian Medical College and Hospital. And I think this is an unparalleled institution till today in the country and in the whole world. So I just leave these people with you so that, you know, anything is possible. You have to be committed, you have to work hard, and you can definitely make it. Thank you very much. There was a disturbance with the net connectivity from my side. So apologies for that. I'll be happy to answer your questions now. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we have a question from Nina Susan. She's asking, due to the lockdown, quite a lot of people have been facing serious issues with their business. How should they manage such a situation?
So that's a right thing. So I don't think it's just true for business. It's for everyone. For example, if you just take the milk seller, now they are taking the help of technology. That is where I told. So they are not able to go to places and deliver the milk. So they're taking the technology's help. So they're not able to set shops for the whole day. So they're making use of IT-enabled technologies to have an online platform so that they are delivering it with a limited time frame. So between 6 to 7, they can fix for delivery and they're taking permission from the police. So their delivery options, they have improved. So this is where I'm saying educated youth should come to the aid of the micro and the small enterprises by enabling technology. In this way, we increase the pool of the SMEs also in the country.
Thank you, ma'am. Pragati Bajpai is asking if you can explain about how to generate funds.
So first you have to generate ideas. So here it is, as I told you, entrepreneurship is not just business. You're not just going to invest money. You have to invest ideas. You have to invest yourself. So what is in it that people are going to give you money, right? You have a very good idea and you know where to take it, then people are going to give you money. So you have to present your ideas. So here the investment is your ideas, your knowledge. So you just can't say where the money comes from. Then you're not thinking entrepreneurship, you're thinking about retail. So you have to buy and sell something, you can't do something on your own, right? Yeah.
Our next question is from Priya Iyer. She asked if we can DBT or any other organization can help us with loans for women entrepreneurs.
Hello, ma'am. I think she was my professor. So good afternoon first. And yeah, not loans. So there is grants available for women entrepreneurs and there is seed funding also available. I would like to connect you with the Women Biotech Park in Siriseri and you can get a lot of help there. So don't think about loans. Loans are for only retails. So entrepreneurs should always look at grants because you're investing, as I said, your knowledge, which is invaluable.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have a question from John V. She asked if you can recommend any grants or institution that specifically cater to e-commerce sites started by women entrepreneurs.
So if you look at the grant in aid scheme of maybe some of the departments like DBT, we are focused on biotechnology. But even then, if you will say that you're having a e-commerce or a platform that will help sell some of the healthcare products, then it will be having a value. So grants comes next, as I said. What is the idea? What is going to be new about your e-commerce? You're also going to buy and sell, or you're going to pull in something to create something new. So these are the things. And if you have an idea and if you explain, I think it is sector agnostic. So many people, not only the government departments, but apart from that, there are a lot of angel investors and venture capitalists who will also be funding you. So you have to just take that idea towards. So the first step will be to go to an incubator, see how the process works. So you have to really get into the job to understand it. So it's not really specific for this idea, this person will give money. It's not like that. It's about an idea which is presented interestingly and the outcome and impact shown, then people start giving you money.
Thank you, ma'am. If you're watching this from the YouTube live stream, you can post your comments. You can post your questions as comments. We will make sure that the speaker answers them. So the next question is from Shravani. She's asking about now at this situation, there are many jobs, many people have lost their jobs. How do you think they must connect with new business ideas?
So I think many of them must have also started doing thinking. So basically the easiest self-employment they are creating to themselves is online tutoring. So I've seen some of them starting online tutoring, online writing, which does not even require a creating of a product or a process. It's just investing your time into something useful. So the first step they are taking. But to really build a process or a product, it just doesn't happen around a pandemic situation. You have to invest a lot of time. You have to be in the process. So I can't say that in this time frame you start something and you become successful. So if you're really troubled with not having a job, you can think about some online jobs. But eventually to build a product or a service or a process, you need to invest yourself, and it doesn't happen over a period of 2-3 months or in a crisis situation like this.
We have a question from YouTube. It's from Afreen. She is asking, how do small scale entrepreneurs overcome problems in hiring employees since they cannot provide the benefits given by large enterprises?
So if you look at small scale entrepreneurs, most of them are just one or two of them. Husband and wife, friends, sisters, brothers, only this much. If you look at the structure of Indian small enterprises, it's hardly anybody. So they don't work because they can't provide salary, and nobody in fact joins them, because sometimes they open the shop, they sell something, sometimes they don't even, because they have only that much investment. They're looking for a livelihood. So it's very small in that sense, and if somebody is not having any kind of job to even have a bread or butter, then they go to them for very meager amount. So these are not actually creating employment. That's why we want technology to come in there, expand them in the bracket of medium enterprise and small enterprise from the micro, so they have jobs. Otherwise, they are not employing anybody because they are not having that much sales in their product, because they are not innovating. So they have, suppose today I have a wet grinder or something, I am selling that. I do not know how to innovate it. So after some time, people buy competitor products. So I do not know what to do. I am just left out in the market. So that's happening.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is from Esther. She asked, what kind of business will help to earn during this lockdown?
During this lockdown. So
Yes, ma'am.
I told you that it's just the online business only, online opportunities for you to be self-employed. So business, so I don't think you can start something now and you can prosper immediately. It takes time. You can start with teaching kids and all that. They're looking for online. Everybody's looking for online classes. So you can start with that. or create material content for the online classes. That was also one good option.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is from Madhumita. She asked if digital-based startups are the only possible platform during this lockdown, or is there any other alternatives? Okay.
So you just can't start something now, but then yeah, there are other things people are doing. A lot of work is happening. That is why we are having the kits, we are having the consumables for the diagnostics, etc. And people are developing vaccines. So it's not just the end of it, but then yeah, you can't really start during this lockdown and create a product. And it's not digital based also. You should have, even for the digital based, you should have tried already something. Now it's time for you to think and start doing about it.
Now we are taking one last question up from Manav. So he's asking if bio-related startups are the next big thing.
What? I didn't get your question, right?
Manav asks if bio-related startups are the next big thing.
So to answer that question precisely, it's not bio-related startups. Everybody is trying to work for addressing a bio. So it is not about a bio startup. People are now working more to have an affordable healthcare solution, food for all, clean energy, and these are life sciences sectors. So non-biologists are also working on these questions which are pertaining to all of us, and these are fortunately in the biological sphere. That's why it looks like bio is the future, but everybody can work on the biological problems of the world. So that's how it's the future for the biotech startups.
Thank you, ma'am. But again, one last question by Dr. Anita Singh from WCC.
Sure.
She asked if you can explain the process to have a startup at Siruseri, like whom to approach, what type of work happens in Siruseri specifically.
Okay. So they have an incubation center, they have common facilities. So suppose if there is an idea, ma'am, for you, and you can just talk to them. You have to first go and approach the incubation manager and the CEO. You can write to them. You can have an informal chat also with them. And then they'll guide you if you have to get incubated there and whether you can have it while doing in the profession here in teaching and all that. You have to just get it cleared from them. And then you can start it. You have to just go and see there what works best for both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.